biggest game of the season, Rich, for you this weekend. Ready for it?
Yeah, we're ready for it. Yeah, I think last week's game, or some of the certainly stuff that happened, it probably come at a good time for us. Really, I think it's enabled us, I guess, to get away with a below par performance and give ourselves opportunity to have a good look at it and work on some things and realise why they happen and hopefully put them right this week. And I'm delighted with the turnaround the boys have shown in training. I think their attitudes have been great this week. We've just had a really really sharp and slick session at the right intensity. So we're happy that by the time we get as team run out of the way on Friday, we'll be ready to go.
Is it good to kind of get one of those performances out of the way, I suppose, and come out with it? Pleasing aspect, I suppose, to come out with one of those performances with getting a win.
Yeah, well, we realise as a team that we can't be too far away from our best or a really good level of performance and expect to get over the line and win games. We know we've got to hit the right level, and for us, the difference between a good performance and a not so good performance is a pretty big one. And usually, if we get a not so good performance, we tend to come on the backside of results really. So I guess the positive was we showed enough spirit, and I think we did enough defensively. I thought we were really hard defensively. We didn't get enough ruck control in the second half, and it all got a bit quick for us. But I actually thought for the best part we were reasonably well organised and put a lot of effort into our defence and held them out, I guess, enough so we didn't have to chase too many points, which is a good job because I thought attacking wise we were way below our best. As half-backs didn't have the same control, as middle guys lost shape, and we were pretty shapeless throughout the evening, and coupled with that, I think we made 17 errors and we didn't keep the ball well. So I said at the time, our offensive game the other night, we were right off them. I won't say we've got a lot to work on because I think we've proven, I think since Magic, Andy's done some stats for me this morning, we're averaging almost 30 points a game. So that suggests to me that our attack is functioning quite alright against the very best teams, but it didn't function very well the other night.
I suppose a better performance then this weekend against a team that on paper should be a tougher test for you.
Yeah, well, we've watched Salford. Sometimes you're not quite sure what you're going to get from them. If we get Salford, if we get the best Salford, then they've proved time and time again this year that they too can concoct post points and play really well against some good sides. But they've had some inconsistencies of late. They've lost a couple of key players out of the team. But it's the last game of the year, and they'll view it as a really positive way to go out by getting a win against us.
What do you make of the kick-off time and the switch to Lee as well? Is that something that favours you?
I was quite looking forward to going to Salford's new ground, to tell you the truth. I'm glad it's at Lee because again it's a super playing surface and a good stadium. I think it's very hard on Salford, to tell you the truth. I think it's a very difficult situation for them, but I don't want to get into the politics of it. I just want to prepare our side to get ready for Salford wherever we're playing at the right time as well. So we know that it's one or two of their players' last games, and if they want to give them a good send-off, we can probably expect a performance from them. But this week we've very much concentrated on getting our own things right, and I think that's important for us. If we do get our own things right, then I say we have proven we're a difficult team to play against.
Molly said he won't be taking any notice of the Bradford result. Is that going to be the same for you, or are you going to be...
No, I will be. Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I think all the last round games should kick off at the same time. Of course, I understand the obligations for TV, and maybe there's something that can be worked out, but I think when there's spots to be played for it, it's really good to have everybody at the same time because, if you look at it from our perspective, the Bradford result comes through all of a sudden, can crank up a hell of a lot of pressure on us, and the other side of the coin is if it comes through and Bradford don't get the result, I guess that has a different effect on us. I do think at the weekend, we saw a quite nervy and edgy team that for the first time this year, we were in a position where we had all sorts of different types of pressure on us, and guys have been listening to the results in the afternoon. The Wigan game and Hull KR came obviously kept everybody on tenterhooks right until the last moment. So I'm certain that had a little bit of a part to play in our performance. So I think everybody kicking off at the same time gives added excitement for everybody. You know, I joked about it at the weekend, but we've all been sat in the pub on a Sunday afternoon watching Super Sunday in the soccer, where there's a little box and the scores keep flashing up, and it's great drama and excitement, and that can be promoted as a really good day for the game. But however, you know, we've got what we've got, and yeah, we'll take notice of the score. I'm not sure we'll have the guys listening on the transistor radios on the bus, but I think with modern technology these days and the phones, we'll get a good look at the Bradford score. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But we said we just want to go out ourselves on the right performance. If we make the 8 or not, I think it's been an outstanding effort. But now we're here, and now we're this close. We want a good performance, and we want a good performance and a win to take us into them playoffs.
So with the players, think you're just leaving it up to them to whether they want to listen to the Bradford game or not, just to whether they want to do it?
I don't think they'll be listening to it, because for the best part of it we'll be travelling on a bus. But I'm sure they'll be keeping updated on the scores. But it's, you know, as I say, it's not going to be part of our focus in the build-up. We're building up to get the right performance out. Hopefully the right performance that will get us the 2 points that takes out any doubt whatsoever, you know, and makes the Bradford score academic, really. And at the same time, you know, put our patchy performance from the other night behind us, and hopefully think about the week after getting in the playoffs on the right footing, and, you know, going wherever we play in a positive frame of mind.
How will making the playoffs rate for you alongside what you've done before, considering you had to put a complete new squad together at the start of the season?
Yeah, first thing, it's a team effort. It's a team effort from us all. But I think for us to make the playoffs will be a fairly significant achievement and a magnificent achievement, and you know, a reward and a testimony to everybody that's been, you know, involved in our season. You know, from where we started, you know, it wasn't just about getting the team together, but, you know, really we didn't get everybody here till sort of late December, so we didn't have an hell of a lot of a pre-season. I think most people tipped us, most pundits or people, Gary's smiling now, right? Gary's smiling now. And you know, and rightly so, you know, most people tipped us for bottom or certainly bottom 2. And you know, you could obviously see the circumstances and the reasons why people would tip us to finish, you know, down the end of the league. You know, we're not a team, it's common knowledge, it's in the public domain, we're not a team that spends anywhere near the salary cap, and you know, we've got some issues that we needed sorting out in terms of chopping and changing his roster from last year to try and get a more competitive outfit. And I think we've been competitive all year. I think, you know, like any team, we've had the odd blip. Easter springs to mind for us, but you know, we've had the ups and downs and the odd blip in some games where we really haven't been as competitive as we should. But I think from the word go, even when we haven't got results, we've been very spirited, competitive, and tried to play the game in the right way. And you know, we've got our just rewards over the second half of the season. I think since the Magic weekend, only Wigan have accrued more league points than us. You know, some, I think Warrington and maybe Leeds have accrued the same amount, but only Wigan have accrued more league points since the Magic weekend, which is, you know, a truly outstanding effort. So for me, where does it rank? You know, I've been in the game a long time, and I'm very fortunate that I've had some outstanding days and moments, and got some medals in my cupboard at home, if you like. So, but it's right up there, and it's right up there because of the size of the challenge that we faced, and I think the enjoyment that we've had doing it as well. It's been terrific. You know, I think we're all in here for one reason. You know, we love rugby league, don't we? And you know, I think everybody within our club and within our squad has really loved their time here this year.
Well, if you go into the playoffs with 7 straight wins, nobody can improve on that.
Well, I've heard us being accused of being a conservative team, a team that's rolled our luck and things like that. You know, I think the stats that I've just thrown at you proves that if we've been riding as luck, we've been riding as luck for a hell of a long time. I think we've been a competitive team, and you know, as I say, I think averaging 30 points a game shows that one thing we're not is conservative. You know, we know we've got to play well. We know we've got to play well to beat teams, and if we don't play well, we generally don't win. And that sounds like a fairly fairly obvious statement, but we aren't a team that can play much below our best and expect to win. So I think for the guys to get up to that level, as long as they have, and when you look through the league, we've beaten, we've not come anywhere near Wigan, we come very close to Warrington. I think there's only Bradford in the competition. I might be right in saying this, I'm sure you'll correct me. I think there's only Bradford, Wigan and Warrington we came close to that we haven't beaten this year. I think that is, that's a wonderful turnaround for us.
Amazing.
What's your best run as a coach, Richard? Have you, in terms of successive wins?
In Super League?
Yeah,
outside?
Super League, yeah.
I'm not sure when I was at York. I think we had some fairly long winning runs there. And as an assistant at Hull, when we got to Grand Final in 2006, I think we went something like 13 or 14 unbeaten. But as a head coach in Super League, this will be the longest run.
With the players that you've got in as well, have you had to put in as much work with them off the field as you have on it? You know, the likes of Sykesy and Lee Smith, who they weren't sort of. Well, Sykesy was always criticised by the Bradford fans. Lee Smith wasn't a regular at Leeds. You've had other players who've come in as well. Have you had to sort of build them up as well off the field as much as on it?
Yeah, we've had a bit of a philosophy on it, really. I mean, we've played a bit of Moneyball, if you like. You know, we haven't had the sabermetric principles involved, and had a statistician working for us. But we've worked on a basis of try and recruit players who will give us value for money. You know, we can't get into competitive bidding wars. We have to accept that if a player's in good form or he gets a better offer somewhere else, that's my judgment to try and get some money on the same wages or less that'll do us a job. And I think we've gone to clubs and got players like Richie Mathers. Obviously, that's been his wages are. It's fairly common knowledge. Cass pays some of his wage, and that's the same for a few players. Sykes is another one. And apart from that, we've looked for good blokes. We've looked for really good people that we think have fit into the ethos and the culture of the place. Publicly we've got to build some bridges and get the right perception of the club out there, not only in the community but to you guys in the media as well. So we've looked for good people. Sometimes people that have got a point to prove, and we've worked on a philosophy that will play to our strengths. Within building that team and trying to play to its strengths, we've had to put together a team was capable of winning games as well somehow. So we've had to get enough offensive players in there, if you like, to cause some problems to teams. But we very much accentuate the positives. And if we have got some players that might have some rough edges on them, one of the reasons they might be playing with us and not at a top 4 club is because they have got them rough edges. But for us, it's about making sure, that there's far more ticks in the positive box to what there is in the negative box, and we'll show them players some love, and we'll try and extract and play to the very best of their assets. And if Timmy Smith misses a tackle, what costs us a try? We can wear that. I'm not going to hand draw and quarter Tim Smith if occasionally he has some defensive blips. But what we do know is he's a guy that can, if you give him the right shape and the right platform, he'll set tries up for you. And he's top of the try scoring and assist charts, I think, or he was last time I looked. And same with Sykesy. We're not asking too much from Sykesy. We ask him to play off Timmy, play a very simple game. But he's an experienced player and he kicks the ball exceptionally well, and he's fitted in. In fact, him moving to standoff has the magic weekend game, and that has probably been the catalyst for us, that we really found the balance within our team with that combination. And that is something that I think has been a big factor in us going from a team that were competitive and not winning games to a team that started to get over the line on a regular basis.
Has the squad outperformed the expectations you had of it at the start of the year?
Good question, because I'm not sure I knew what to expect. Because a lot of the players were new to us. We're walking into a club that had been through, a really rough time. So we'd got, apart from putting the squad together, we'd just got heaps to try and get through and work towards. And we faced some massive challenges. Again, in building bridges, repairing, we faced some internal challenges with people. Some people that change sometimes is a difficult thing for people to accept, but we wanted to change the place. We wanted to be a totally different place to what anybody that had been involved in the club before was. So on the whole, everybody's been really receptive to the changes that we've tried to make. Everybody's telling me, how long will it take the team to gel? But that were a new one. I've sort of worked in established teams and clubs before, so I've never been at a club what had a whole new group of players put together. And I think within that, within that gelling, you find your relationships and your combinations. And probably where we started for round one is, by the time we got to round 12, 13, 14, we started to evolve in a different way. We find things that work for us. We find some players can play a little bit better on this side of the field in this system, and while playing on that side we might do it a little bit differently. And then within that, as I say, you work up your relationships and you treat players, and we start understanding how to win games in certain situations. And I think one of the big things for us as a group, what we've worked on is recognition, is recognition in certain situations. Situational football, if you like. What would we do if this is happening, and if this defence is going to change on us and play like this week? How can we best get around it? And we're very fortunate that we've got an extremely smart number 7 and some players in key positions that obviously are very experienced.
Was some of the things that you had to put in place at the start of the year an eye-opener for you that Wakefield didn't have, that you thought a club would have but didn't?
Yeah, but I enjoyed that challenge. I enjoyed that. I've been an amateur coach in my 20s. I started coaching, probably in my mid to late 20s. So, I've been right through the coaching spectrum and ladder, if you like. So I've been at places where you need to think a little bit laterally and do things a bit different, because in rugby league there is the haves and have-nots, and we're the have-nots. So to me, to get us to the place that we can be the most professional that we can be, for spending as little money as we need to be, that's a challenge, which is a challenge that I've enjoyed doing. And I think I've had the skills to do it as well, based on past experiences. And I'm sure if you talk to any of our guys downstairs, we haven't got shiny and brand new things, but they get professionally trained and well looked after, and we give them as much as we can, and in return, we expect the right level of professionalism and performance.
Was it sort of like basic stuff like gym equipment that wasn't here?
Yeah, training facilities. I guess the biggest story I tell to people privately is when I come here, the changing rooms were the old changing rooms, and within the changing room there were a little room, an offset room, and in there were a sink, there were some mucky old water bottles that looked like they were riddled with Legionnaire's disease, there were rotting fruit, there were graffiti and old paper cuttings on the wall that players had stuck there. And when I asked, an old carpet in there, and when I asked what the room was, the reply I got, it's where the players play cards. Well, I said, well, the players aren't going to be playing cards this year. The players will be busy and working, or they'll be at home. I asked our owner, could he knock that out and get some artificial grass down in the changing rooms. Anyway, I went away for 2 or 3 weeks, and credit to our owner, he's been brilliant for things like that. Aesthetically, he just changed the appearance of the changing room. So, as I was saying before, if you're a Wakefield player and you walked out of last year's changing room into this year's, we got it branded up with the strap lines, with our trademark words, and we can show film in there. There's artificial grass on the floor, so it can be used as a warm-up area on game day, and it's just little things like that. I went up to see, there's 2 private schools in the city, Queggs and Silcoats, which, to be fair, are exceptionally good schools, and they're synonymous with quality. They've produced international sports people for years. So I went up to meet those people, and we cut a deal. Really, they've been exceptionally good, and I'd love to give them and the sports teachers a rap, that just to use their facilities and train there, rather than hammering this pitch, and we'll try and get this pitch up to top quality, and training on pitches that either aren't big enough or the wind's blowing a gale and things like that. So I guess that, we got the chef making breakfast and dinner for us. So straight away, they were just little things that building up relationships or contra deals, or the players pay for their own food. It just enabled us to get a little bit of a different feel about it, you know, and do a little bit more for the players, and I guess make it a little bit more professional.
Do you think Danny Kerman in particular maybe was lucky not to get an England call this week?
I've not studied. The squad's come through on email and they were embargoed until midnight. To be honest, I didn't even open the email. I know we've not got any players in, and it's not something I've studied too much time on form. I can't even tell you who was in the top squad and who was in the night squad. I thought we might have had a couple of players that might have got close. I actually thought Kyle Wood might have got close to the Knights based on the fact he plays 7 and 9, and I think, you know, since Paul Layton's gone out on the team, Kyle's played more game time and been in terrific form. I thought he might have had an outside chance, but I also understand there's 4 or 5 hookers in there as well. I'm not quite sure who the halfbacks is, and Kermo may well have been a chance, even if not for the top squad for the Knights. But it's you know, it's not something I've paid too much time studying, and you know, the merits of the individuals that have got selected.
Are you finding that this run and the fact that you could finish 8th is making it a bit easier for you to recruit players for next year? Is it making it look more attractive?
We don't think we've got much to do.
Right.
Without doubt, you know, the perception of us, I would imagine the perception of us has changed on the fact that, you know, our form's been better, we've scored more league points, and our crowds are good, and you know, we have built some bridges and repaired some you know, some things with people out there. We don't need too much, and the players that we sort of got in mind, we're talking to. We're just waiting for a few things to fall into place, hopefully before we can rubber stamp them. But we have had, you know, I guess a more of a keen interest in telephone calls coming our way. So yeah, that's a positive and very much a byproduct of I guess the progress that we've all made.
How many of the 18 players that you brought in are contracted for next year as well?
Oh, off the top of my head, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure at this stage that anything's too much of a surprise to us. Who's coming and who's going. I think Paul Sykes and Richie Mathers are the two at the moment that, because there's other clubs and they're still on extended deals, there's a little bit, you know, there's some hurdles to get over before their deals are done, but we are hopeful that both players will get done. Frankie Mariano's just re-signed. Is that out? It is now.
No, it's still put out tomorrow, but yeah.
Oh, well, that's tomorrow.
I said you can talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
Formally, it'll go out.
Yeah.
Frankie Mariano's re-signed his deal, which is terrific for us. He's had a stop-start year, and he weren't hitting the levels that we needed him to hit for him to be a player that will contributing enough to our team. But we laid some challenges down to him 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he's now gone totally the other way. You know, he was one of our best players again last week, and he's breaking the line. But more importantly, he's got 1 or 2 defensive issues sorted up. So that's great for Frank. He's really earned his new deal. But off the top of my head, I'm not sure where we're at with everybody that's out in the public domain and where James is with it. But we're happy with where we're at. We don't think we're necessarily going to lose anybody that we're not sort of comfortable with losing, unless we lose them on our terms. So, you know, in terms of people coming in as well, as I say, there's 1 or 2 things to fall into place before we get there. But I'm confident. I can say this. I'm confident we will have a stronger squad without necessarily spending any more money next year. We'll have a stronger squad with a bit more depth in it.